If you're here, hello everyone. Uh-oh. All right, let me see if we're live. And I think we are live. And if you're here, welcome. Happy Saturday to you. And if it's Sunday for you, happy Sunday to you. And Dana is our first person here. Hello, Dana. So as you guys know, I've got to set stuff up. So let me set up this podcast. We've already got 2 people here, so that's great. All right, let me put the Discord link. And okay, that is there. Good. And do a couple other things. As I always say, I've always got to get set up in the beginning. Let's go back here. I might have enough. This might be good enough for now. All right, let's see if I can get back to the actual live stream. Let me get my ears in. Actually, my ear phones. And oh, come on. I want to see this live. Let's see. Video link. I think that's it. All right, cool. Good deal. Yeah, we got people here. All right. So again, welcome to everyone to the JeffMara podcast live version, where you can join. Anybody can join as long all they need is Zoom, and you can hang out with me for 10 minutes and share your experience with the world. Happy Saturday to you if you're on this side of the planet. If you're on the other side, happy Sunday to you. And let's get started. Let's see who's here. All right. We'll start with Gopal. I think he was here first. And then we got Patricia, Belgium, and Nikia. So this is great. Please excuse my voice. I've been kind of under, excuse me. I've been under the weather, this week, but I've still managed to keep cranking out the podcast. Luckily, the guests do most of the talking and not me. So I just needed enough energy for me to ask questions and to pay attention. And this looks really weird, what's going on his. It says Wi-Fi and there's something spinning. Maybe his phone is off or something. I'm not sure what's going on. Well, wait a second. If not, then I'll put him back and I'll bring Nikki. Maybe I'll just bring Nikia in. I'll say, put in waiting room. So I didn't kick you out, Gopal. I just put you in the back in the waiting room. And Nikia. Find out who Nikia is. There we go. She's almost here. We're just waiting for her sound to come on. So she probably doesn't hear me. I wonder if she might, but she probably doesn't because the sound's not on yet. So while we're waiting for that, I'll say hello to everybody. Go, hello. And I didn't know you're from Croatia. That's cool. Christine from California, hello. Amanda, hello. Penny Sutton, hello. Gloria Matthews, hello. Is connecting to Audio X. She's almost here. That's strange. She was connecting. Oh, she's gone. We lost her. That's how it is when you do Zoom, guys. People can just kind of disappear. So we'll try Gopal again. See if Gopal is with us. Anne, hello. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, everybody. Gopal, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Jeff?
Good.
Namaste. Can you hear me?
Namaste. I can hear you. How are you?
Yeah, that's very good.
It's so your room is so well illuminated and so bright. We would never know that it's 3 or 4 in the morning for you over there.
Yes, well, that's the great things about lights. You can, put a few of them, and you don't have to be. Yeah.
So what's going on this week? You got anything new for us?
Well, I have quite a few stories. I never have the time to finish them.
Wow, yeah. You have too many stories. What about
yeah.
Well, I'll just let you say. Go ahead.
No. It's fine. I was just saying that I always have stories because I have been doing, yoga and meditation for a long time, and there is always something going on. And I have seen many things and UFOs as well. Since I was little, I wanted to see UFOs. I was remember when communism ended, there was a flood of these, magazines. There was no internet still, but everything opened, and these magazines and newspapers came in. Like I remember there was a magazine I was reading. It was called. Not psycho, but something psychological or something about, and you could read there about people who died and came back. It wasn't like NDE, it wasn't so good like now, but there was still this, these interesting things, like they started to come, and they said how you can maybe contact UFOs, and you have to write something in a paper and then burn it outside and blah. I was doing all these strange things, but I never got to see one. But later on, I have a UFO story. If you want, I can tell it. But you can go ahead and please.
No, go ahead. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you remember one of the episodes I was here. I mentioned about a region here in Bulgaria where the mountains, these Rhodope mountains, and there are very spiritual and very strange spots there, and you can hear and see things. And there is one area there in the mountain, very beautiful, with lots of temples, Christian temples, and there is a church, and it's called Christ Forest. It's called Christ Forest because you can go in this church, and there is a I'm not saying 100% is real, but that's what the people were saying there, and the priest. There is actual piece of Jesus Christ, the cross of Jesus piece, and you can see it there in one of the icons, and you can pray there, and it's really great, high energy. So always the locals there, everybody knows that there are UFOs around there and very strange activities, and it's like a normal thing, and we wanted to see a UFO. So we said with my family, and we said, my wife and my daughter, let's sleep the night here. We got a room, but we couldn't go into the room because outside was really nice weather, and you could stay camping there. But we went into the car and we were talking, and I said, let's pray, let's meditate, and maybe call somebody, a UFO or something. maybe they can sense. And we were meditating, and then we talked, and we fell asleep in the car. And suddenly, I something woke me. Jeff, have you ever felt like when you were in a stoplight, and you were looking ahead, and suddenly you turn and you see somebody looking at you, like, yeah, but that's what I felt, like something awoke me, and I looked up immediately. I was like this close to the window of the car. I woke and I looked up, and I see this light uh, uh, going through the sky. It wasn't a plane, because the light was bright and it wasn't blinking or anything. And I almost screamed to to my daughter and my wife. They were asleep, and I said, "Here is the UFO!" And they, wow, and they woke up, and as we said wow, the light flashed very brightly in the sky, and the light went from flash to a little light, and then it continued a little bit more and disappeared. It was like said, "Hello, I'm here," or you could, something like that. We sensed it was really beautiful, and that's what we saw. And there are other things, that I told you before, that my phone stopped, and all these things, you cannot take pictures of them, and it's like really strange, but really beautiful experience. I loved it. So that's one of the
It sounds like you did your own CE5 event. Do you know what the CE5 events are?
No, I haven't heard about.
I think they call them Close Encounters 5 or CE5, and they're based on Dr. Greer's work.
Yeah.
Which is people get together and they meditate together to see a UFO.
Right, I have heard about.
And then they'll show up.
Yeah. Well, I didn't count on that. We just did that because we felt like it, not because we were like very serious about it or we expected anything. But I'm sure that if you go there, and you sleep there, 100% I'm sure you will see something. You will see things, because I told you, when we were in the tomb of Bastet in the Stranja mountain, the tomb of Bastet, we were gathered people there. There is always people in the night. We stay the night. There is a big fire, and people pray there, and they there are different things, meditate. So, and always when you look up, we looked up a few times, and we saw things moving, like the distant lights. They are moving, but they are like this erratic, not like it's not a satellite, because the satellite goes like this very slowly and it doesn't stop. But these things were sometimes passing through, and everybody was like normal. Yeah, these are the UFOs. They're always around there, these spots. So you can see them 100% on these, on Christ Forest especially, but Tomb of Bastet. So that's very interesting.
Maybe there's just something that's there that it's attracting them.
Absolutely. I've heard a story recently. Local people, they talked there, Tomb of Bastet, the communistic regime before, they went digging there in the tomb, and they used soldiers to dig, and there were quite a few soldiers died there, and they took them off. They were blue from some kind of like a horror stress or something. They saw something really unimaginable there, and the government took there lots of artifacts, lots of things, and they had all the areas around it, really like secret service thing. It was really strange in the 80s, or so I don't know what is there. As I told you before, Baba Vanga, which is the clairvoyant, this woman that is world famous for her predictions, and she said that there is something buried under there in the tomb, which is two very tall Egyptian people came there thousands of years ago, or hundreds, I don't know how many years ago, and they buried something there which contains the secrets of the universe, and people should not touch it now, because it is it's not the time. It will only hurt the people who touch it. Interestingly, all these people who did the expedition and did the digging, the main people there, all died within a month. Wow. After that. Yeah, very strange. So she said, when humanity uncovers this thing, one day when it's time, it will uncover really big secrets about the universe and about how things work, and maybe, I don't know, space travel or dimensions and stuff like this. So
wow. So they haven't opened up the tomb yet. The government, I mean, the local government or the country government doesn't want to open it up.
I don't know if they don't want, or they are scared because something, or they saw something, because when the daughter of the main, I don't know how to call it in English, let's say the president, when the communistic regime was, his daughter, she was really into these occult and spiritual things. Her name was Ludmila Zhivkova, and after that they killed her. And she was very, she went to, she knew Satya Sai Baba in India. She went to, she took all these yogis with her to Bulgaria. They were performing things, and she went there with few people, an expedition, because Baba Vanga said to her, Baba Vanga knew her personally. So she said to her to go there, and 5th of May or 6th of May or something like that, specific date, specific hour, you have to go there. And when they went there, they saw into the rock a movie screen formed, like a screen, and some figures start to move, and some person with white hair and a beard started to perform some rituals and something, and they said something to them, but I don't know more, because it's very everything is really how to say, like not a lot. Nobody says the whole truth, but they saw something really strange there, and really things that unexplainable, really interesting. Yeah. Wow.
All right, bud. Well, thanks for coming and sharing with us. I've got to run to the next person. Thanks for staying up so late. For those of you who don't know, Gopal's in Bulgaria, so who knows what time it is there, but we appreciate you coming and hanging out with us, Gopal.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and thank you for the great work you're doing.
Thank you.
And thanks for your wonderful audience.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Take
Namaste.
Care. Namaste.
Bye.
All right. Up next is Joe. So he's over in Bulgaria, and there's some interesting paranormal stuff going on over there. And he mentioned the blue aliens, and I was looking through UFO news to talk about today when we're waiting on guests, and I saw this news article about a woman named Lily Nova, and she is an astrophotographer, and I guess she's been taking pictures of UFOs lately, and she's been in contact with blue beings. And according to her, the blue beings are testing the waters. So that's pretty interesting. It sounds like the blue avians. And anyways, so I found her, and I asked her to come on. Maybe, that was just 10 or 15 minutes before we got started today. So maybe she'll be a guest and we can find out more about them and what's going on with the blue avians. Joe, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent.
Can you, your voice is a little low. Can you,
Does it sound better?
A little bit. Are you in Australia?
No, I'm in Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts. It sounded like you thought you had an accent, but I was wrong.
Well, I do have an accent, a little bit of like a Boston accent.
Now I hear it. Yeah, now I hear it. Yeah, maybe you just weren't loud enough for me.
Yeah.
So how you guys are you're in snow blizzard up there, right?
Yeah, we're just cleaning up out here. So when I saw your podcast was available tonight, I was very interested because I've been watching you lately.
Thank you.
And I'm very interested in a lot of your subjects.
Well, thank you. What do you got for us?
Actually, I've written a few books, Jeff. I write books on the afterlife.
Oh, wow.
So when I listened to some of your interviews with people that have had near-death experiences, it validated a lot of things that I had learned over the last 25 years. And which is very fascinating because I love when other people tell stories, and you can validate from different sources
Mhm.
about what's going on and things. So it's fascinating to watch.
Now you've written a couple books. Where are you getting your information from? Your own personal experiences?
What I do, I'm a medium. I've been a working
Okay.
medium for 20 years. So I channel the books. And so I get the general information from the other side. But I also, through my mediumship, I can have certain particular individuals come through and add to the book their experiences. Like I've written a book on for veterans, and my last one, it was for people who've lost children. So I can bring some of the children through to validate some of the things the parents might go through,
Hmm.
just so there's a nice structure to the book.
Wow. Can I don't know if you've been here on Saturday night, but one of my, I guess you'd say, listeners, guests, there's a guy that comes every Saturday night named Steven. And for the last couple of Saturdays, we've been saying we've got to get a medium here because he always has a spirit with him who committed, excuse me, who ended her life. She can interact with him, but he doesn't communicate with her. So I said, we've got to get a medium here to see if we can, all three of us, me, the medium, and him, and see if we can contact her and communicate with her. Are you up for that?
It could be something interesting. I mean, I would have to, see where she's coming from. A lot of the books I write are also on signs that I love when send her. And in this particular case, it sounds like she's contacting him because
Yeah.
she's the one that passed over, right?
Yes.
She's contacting him through some signs and stuff, and he's not being able to kind of like pick him up, I think, or um,
Well,
obviously communicate back.
well, he's supposed to be here at 8 o'clock because we always say every Saturday, be here at 8. So, like I said, her name's Monique. He said she can physically move his body. She's hanging out with him all the time. But like I said, he can't talk. I said, man, it would be great if we did. Sorry, my voice is bad tonight. It'd be so great if we had a medium that could, we could get some information from Monique. That'd be real fun and really cool, actually. So
Yeah, it might be interesting. It just depends on where he's coming from.
yeah, and where is he from? Yeah, I don't know. Well, you
No,
like I said, stick around till 8 o'clock, and she'll be here, or he'll be here. While you're here, what are the titles of your book?
God, let me see. My first book was called Hello, Anyone Home?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a guide on how people can recognize how signs are given from their loved ones.
Yeah.
I put my glasses on here. I write them and I forget. The other one is I Got Your Message, and that's the second book on signs. Some of the historical information behind the signs, why they pick particular signs like coins and feathers, and the history of those, and how they've changed over the years, over the millennium. Some signs might have been used in the past, and they stopped using them, and then they're using them more. Coins is an example of that. At one point in time, people were using coins that they thought they were magical, so
Let me
spirits stopped using them.
let me
But now they're very popular in the culture.
let me stop you there. I find coins a lot. I never really thought about it being someone trying to contact me. I just kind of felt, I was lucky, or I taught my kids, to find a penny, pick it up all day long, you'll have good luck, it's just kind of like a good luck thing. But I never really thought too deeply about someone trying to connect with me. Do you think finding coins is more someone trying to connect with you?
If you Jeff, if you see a pattern about it, if they're around certain times in your life when you're thinking of a loved one, perhaps a birthday or a holiday, or something that you just pops into your head about them, and then you see these signs around those times and you see a pattern, then you can start to hone in and really believe that could be a sign, because they tap into us and they know the right time to send a sign, but they don't want to overload us so that everything we look at, we say, oh, that's a sign, that's a sign, that's a sign. They don't want to do that. So they try to keep it to a pattern or something that is associated with them.
Wow. The Stephen is, I see him in the chat. He's here. Do you want to give it a try? We can tell him to join us.
Yeah, if you'd like to come in.
Steve, if you want to come in, we're ready to go. One time I got so lucky that it was my birthday. I used to kind of like exercise around my neighborhood, and I would leave my neighborhood and be in fields. There was like a field in front of my house. And even one time on my birthday, I found it was crazy. It was just, I was just walking through the fields and found a 20. So I never really, I thought I should have, now that I think about it, I'm like, wow, maybe someone was wishing me a happy birthday from the other side.
If it's around your birthday, that's definitely a possibility. But you always, even if you're not sure, just thank them anyway,
Mm-hmm.
And but if you start finding more coins and money on more birthdays, then you might have something there.
What are the patterns that would be around finding coins? If I wanted to try to think of it as patterns.
The pattern is something that's, like I said, it's connected to that particular person, because once they find a sign that you recognize, they'll try to repeat it. So they're not going to, kind of shotgun you with all different signs and get you confused. So if some people are finding particular coins in a weird area, like a lady had gone out with after her husband died, quarters used to show up. And I said to her, well, at least one thing, Jay's not cheap. He's not sending dimes. He's sending quarters.
Yeah.
But they would just appear like, on a table that was just clean and there's nothing there, just like really out of the blue. And we would find them everywhere. So I think it's more of, if you find a coin, it's the feeling that you have when you find it. Okay. If it's just like, hey, I just found a dollar or a quarter, it's like, hey, it's just a dollar or a quarter. But if you pick it up and you just have that gut feeling of like there's some type of connection to it, then they'll work with that. But it's not for everyone. Some people have other signs that that are associated with them that are easier to get through than just particular coins.
Right. All right. I'm admitting Steven in. So this is great. This is a sign. You're here. He's here. We can finally get this. We can finally do this, because we've been talking about it for 2 weeks. And sometimes his internet's kind of slow, and it's real kind of delayed. So we'll just see how his internet is today. Well, hopefully it'll be good today. Here he comes.
Well, hello there.
Steven, Joe, Steven.
Hey, Steven.
Hi.
Do you want to fill Joe in a little bit, and then we'll see if he can make any contact?
Yeah, so my life is very difficult. So I watch videos on suicide, and there's a website called Faces of Suicide. And I took a picture of a lady and used it as my desktop image. And then after a couple of weeks, I started feeling so pressing down on my bed. And then over the years, that's kind of gotten more and more. And now she'll just start making me dance like this, or making me clap, or like
she's in your energy field, right? Yeah.
Yeah, she's connected to my energy field.
Now, a quick question. Is this a lady that you just saw on that particular website, or is this someone you know?
Oh, I don't know her. She's from South Africa, but I live in Duluth, Minnesota, and I met a guy from where she was, from her hometown. And then we ended up being golf partners. We'd go golfing together. So I thought that was just too coincidental.
Well, yeah, I don't believe in coincidences, especially. Had you already seen her picture before you met this guy?
I don't remember the timeline, but I had her as my desktop for a while. Can
I ask why you picked her? You picked her as your desktop?
It's hard to say exactly why, but it's like her numbers, she's good looking, but not like, there's like cuteness and there's beauty, and she's more like on the cuteness side.
Okay. So it was more of a physical attraction of why you put her on the.
There is some.
But okay, so did you read her background on her particular suicide?
I don't know anything about the causes or anything like that. I don't.
Okay. Yeah. So what kind of drove you to be looking at that site? Do you have friends that committed suicide?
No, I'm struggling every day. So it's
Right.
my life was destroyed 17 years ago. So I've
Yeah.
been suffering pretty bad. I say there's a lack of caring. So I lack caring, resources, or power
Right.
to solve the problem.
Okay. So you're just kind of checking out different websites and stuff. So you think this lady, what it sounds like is, I mean, because you initiated the act of bringing her energy towards you, um, you've opened it up and you invited her in, even though you didn't say, "Hey, come on in." You invited her in um,
Yeah.
by selecting her on this particular site, and I think maybe she's there to help you. And the reason I say that, and I'm
She's
not
doing a
getting
bad job then.
why, because she's scaring
My
you.
life has gotten thousands of times worse. My
Well, that could
see,
go ahead.
yeah, my teeth were filed down even more, and then I was dumped into an abusive group home.
Yeah.
It's been the worst. So I have to rely on prayer hotlines to basically keep me alive.
Okay. But is her presence upsetting you, or do you
No,
enjoy it?
no.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because she's not shy at all. You'd think that, but she's not shy. Like she'll like if I'm standing still, she'll just start moving my arm.
I really believe that, and I haven't really slipped over. If I do start to ramble a little bit, it's because I'm starting to kind of see if anyone's around. Um, so if I mess up my words, it's kind of like I'm trying to tap in at the other side and talk to you at the same time. That's Jeff. That's how mediumship works. It's like
Mm,
having a daydream.
okay.
You're looking at something, but you're thinking about something else. But with mediumship, you're having a conversation while you're daydreaming. So that throws the monkey wrench in. But from what it sounds like, and from my experiences, that I believe that she is there to help you because she knows what you're going through, and in this case, it's going to be, she's reaching out for you to show that there's someone around, there's support, there's someone you can ask for support, and there's someone there for you.
I basically only ask God and Jesus for help because some people say, "Oh, pray to Mary" or something. I'm like, I don't really. I was
No,
raised Catholic, so
well, I was raised Catholic too. I mean, when I want
and
something,
yeah, I've met. I call it the please Lord, please Lord, please Lord.
listen, I used to go to Mother Mary for the big stuff I needed, right? I'd call her in. But we do have guides and guardian angels that help us. They just use different names for them. And they come in different forms. And some of them are here on the earth plane, and you run into them once in a while.
Yeah, it's
And then
not a mystery to me. It's not like it's like I'm intuitive and very spiritual, so this is not a.
good. I mean, that's why you're picking it up, like the feeling on the bed and stuff. I grew up with that when I was a kid. I had that every night for years.
Yeah, I think I maybe felt like a few times someone touching my leg when I was
Yeah.
sleeping, but this is all the time.
Yeah,
And
they
the
uh,
way,
they used to they used to touch my hands. You could feel them sitting down on your legs on the bed. That's not uncommon um, when spirits around. But you can communicate with them, and you can tell them to stop if you want to.
well, it's Mother Mary to comfort me, I wrote a song about this,
Yeah, no, I mean,
John hated, every song he wrote. He would throw it in the trash and call it garbage.
well, the story about Mother Mary came to me, right?
Yeah, he said his mother came to him in a dream and said, "Let
Right. A
it
lot of
be."
people, a lot of people thought it was Mother Mary, but it was actually
It
his
could
mother
be
came.
either interpreted.
Well, he said it was his mother, and
Yeah, he did
basically
say
saying,
that.
"Don't worry about, not having a girlfriend like all the other guys do." But it was an apparition, and so his mother was there to support him. And in your case, I think this particular woman out of the blue is there to support you because she knows you're having a tough time in your life.
Yeah, that the spirit world can see it, so people here can't see. They could. There's someone had a TED talk where they said if you've got a broken arm, they can see that and they go, "Oh, that sucks." But if you got something inside of you that's wrong,
Yep.
they don't see that and they think
Who
it's
doesn't see
nothing.
that? Spirit or people? Who doesn't see that?
Oh, people don't see it. They tend to deny problems that they can't just see.
Oh,
Like
and
I have a
here?
well, I have a sleep disorder, and people tend to not
Oh, I know that for a
acknowledge it.
fact. A friend of mine has handicap plates, and he gets yelled at all the time because he gets out of his car and he walks in the store, and they're like, "You're not handicapped," but he has heart problems. You know, he's got liver, he's got kidney problems. So people just they don't see a visual, you know, him hurting, so they just judge a book by its cover. But Spirit knows all about that. So you can rely on them, and you can talk to them, and you can ask for help.
Well,
and
yeah, I'm
support.
not looking for advice or anything like that. I
No,
mean,
no, I'm just telling you. I'm just going from my experience,
yeah, when people say it's a demon or something like that, it's like I've dealt with demons and I've dealt with good spirits, so I know
Right.
the difference.
Hmm.
I just had a recent sleep paralysis where a demon said to me, he said, you know, these are very scary voices, and it says, "I detest you," which means I hate you or strongly dislike.
Right. Well, that's when you bring in Mother Mary and Jesus.
Well, yeah, I know how to deal with.
Yeah.
I know how
Those
to
are the
deal
big,
with it.
those are the big guns. You know, they bring those in. I was brought up in the Catholic Church, so they work. Archangel Michael works, so you don't have to necessarily deal with that. But it's
Well,
interesting, this particular lady.
Yeah, I got videos of spirit orbs, like world record spirit orbs, and I got one of me dancing, letting her just move me.
Yeah. Does it lift you up? I mean, does it make you happy?
Well, I wouldn't be doing it normally because I told Jeff, I've said that a few times. I go to the supermarket, they got music playing. Nobody dances to that except for me. I'm the only one there dancing to it, doing a little.
Hey, that's what they say. We should dance through life. Why not? If it feels good, do it. Right, Stephen?
Yeah, if it
Yeah, I don't,
feels good, man, do it. Keep doing it until it hurts.
that's right. And then do it again one more time. Right?
all right,
So,
guys, this was pretty cool. I've actually got to run to the next person, but I appreciate you both trying, and I think that you did connect with her. If you felt like you could, you didn't talk to her back and forth, but you were able to at least get some sense
Yeah,
of
you
who
can
she
get
was.
an intuitive feeling about what's going on, but it's not verbal.
right. Yep.
Yeah, I would be really interesting if someone could. I'm assuming there's some type of medium out there that could actually have a conversation with her, like mediums do, right?
You
Well,
can't
my
understand.
psych,
It
yeah,
depends on certain circumstances too, Jeff.
Hmm.
You know, you have
yeah,
to kind of be invited in. You can't just necessarily.
the psychic friend I know said she's along for the ride, which that's what I believe.
It would be interesting to be able to ask her why she just doesn't cross over. Why does she want to stay?
Oh, they're
earthbound?
crossed over. They're on the other side. They're
Yeah,
just
she's
coming
on the other
back
side. Yeah,
yeah.
she's not stuck here.
Oh, okay.
No.
Sorry. That's interesting then. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. People can come and visit us from the other side, Jeff. That doesn't mean that they're stuck earthbound. That's a whole different area of study.
But she could be stuck here.
No, I don't think so.
But you don't get the sense that she is, but
No,
it is
I
a
don't
possibility,
get that sense at all.
right?
I get the sense that not only her family even knows that she's in the light. That's the intuitive sense I get about it. That she must have came back to her family and let them know too. But that's just my intuitive sense.
I would go with that,
talk to
Stephen.
them.
That sounds legit to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me interrupt you guys real quick. Someone wanted to join, and they wanted my Zoom ID. If you look right under the video, the Zoom ID is there with the passcode. It's just immediately under. I mean, I can see it. You don't even have to open up the details of the video. But if
there's two types of skeptics. There's the religious skeptic that says everything's a demon, and then the materialist, the atheist that says everything's a hallucination. So I've dealt with both. So they told Jesus that his powers came from demons too. So it's like, they don't have discernment. They don't have spiritual discernment. That's the problem.
Did either one of you catch my latest video yesterday? And the man spoke about Jesus was married and have 3 kids, or had 3 kids. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't agree with that.
I think that could be true. I didn't see the video, but I have not. You know, there was always a reference to James, his half brother, right? So, you know, Joseph had kids, obviously, you know, from a prior marriage. So, you know, I think the family tree could be a little convoluted. It doesn't change the Christ consciousness and all about Christ. So to me, it doesn't make any difference if he had 2 kids, 5 kids, or he's married or whatever. It's, you know, it's his life that people need to follow, not necessarily, you know, the family tree. So it could be possible.
All right.
It seems unlikely to me, because then the whole story would have to be changed.
I don't know. We're just getting into Da Vinci Code
Yeah.
area.
That's it. Yeah, because I mean, would things really change that much?
Yeah. For the story, no.
Just because they were left out, you know? Maybe they died at birth, maybe they lived in a different region.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's always little details that, you know, we don't know, obviously, but I think the big ones, like if he was married and had kids, I think we'd know about it.
I don't know if they'd tell us. I don't know if those priests would tell us back in the day.
Have you ever heard the theory that Jesus was Caesarion, Caesar's and Cleopatra's son?
I don't know about that
I've never
one.
heard it.
No. The jury's out on that one.
All right, guys.
Everyone can get to know Jesus. I'll just say that because he said that if you love God and obey the commandments, I will reveal myself to you. So he's not trying to hide from people. It's just that we need our space here to have a life.
He's everywhere, right?
Well, we're not, you know, experiencing him directly right now, but he is there. Yeah.
My belief is that we're all spiritual beings, and we're here at this earth plane in our physical bodies, and then when we're done, we return back to where we came from, and we're a spiritual species. And some of us are more in tune than others. Like Stephen, you're in tune. I can tell. You know, you're very intuitive, and
Yes.
And some people aren't, and that's okay too. But because a lot of times people don't want to
Yeah,
develop their gifts because they're interested in other things or they're scared or whatever.
Yeah, they
But I
don't
think
understand. It's harder to be an empath and be intuitive. They might think it's easier. It's actually harder.
it's
And
hard.
it's frustrating too if you know what needs to be done and nobody wants to listen to you.
Yes,
It's
it is
also frustrating.
Yeah, and it's hard to deal with the general population if you are super sensitive and an empath. It takes its toll. But there's a reason why people have those gifts, because they're here to help other people.
I would like to help other people, but it's like, you know, it's kind of like I've got so many problems of my own. It's hard to. But it's in my nature to help people.
Right, and I think that's the key. That's the key. What I've seen a lot in people that have grief, in a lot of the books that I write, that by helping others, it's the number one way for people to leave their own grief and have their own healing and hope is by helping others. And another thing is nature, becoming very close with nature. Those are the 2 biggies. So
yeah, and improving, becoming a better person helps other people too as well.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation.
I came up with what I call objectively good person, because it's like people need a target to go for, because it's like if you don't have some kind of idea. So I came up with what makes someone a good person. I said they're moral. That means they're concerned with right and wrong. They're ethical. That means they take responsibility for their actions. They're principled. That means they live by words they can tell, you know, do unto others. They're logical. That means they understand what follows, because I noticed even as a kid that people would commit logical fallacies. They're compassionate. That means they care about other people. And they're wise. That means they've spent their life building up knowledge.
That sounds
I'm
good
not,
to me. And they're all, those attributes are all connected, you know?
yes, it's like the pillars.
Yeah. And sometimes people are brought up that way. Some people learn the hard way. I think the main ones in there are like the compassion. Those are straight from the source, straight from your soul, and so those are the, and then the other ones, you know, they all work together.
They
They all
do.
work together. I think you would make a good counselor, Stephen, to people that need help.
Yeah, I'm an idea guy. I kind of like comedy and ideas, come up with ideas.
You know, something comedy is excellent for healing, helping people heal. There's so many different ways
I'll
people can
post some
help.
videos I did that I thought were hilarious. I do this thing called reverse speech too. And if you say Bob Saget backwards, it sounds like big ass smile.
You
So
could
I
do a
did a
whole
video. It's
you
kind of
could do a
funny.
whole routine that way. But that's the thing. Do what you know, I'm just throwing out ideas because to help people, humor is awesome.
There's a commenter here, Joey, that says that by you coming on, you're helping him. 'Cause Stephen
Oh,
comes
me?
on. Stephen's been my most loyal person here. He's been here every week. I don't think he's ever missed one. So we can always count on him being here to see what's up with him every week.
Yeah, Jeff is so nice. Thank you, Jeff. And the most of the community is really nice people. So
Yeah, well, I'm very
it's
lucky.
hard. Yeah, it's hard to talk to people that aren't so nice. We'll just say.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's always nice to talk to like-minded people.
Yeah. And on that note, I have to go to the next like-minded person. So guys,
you gotta
thank
do what you
you
gotta do,
so
man.
much
You know?
for hanging out with me.
Thanks, Jeff, and
Anytime.
Thanks,
thanks
thank you
everybody.
guys. Nice meeting you, Joe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, Mary Hall is next. Report, and we've got one after that. Great. So we finally got somebody to, we finally got a medium with Stephen. That was cool. All right. Looks like her microphone is connected, just not her camera. So let's ask to start video. Ask to start video. Ah, Laura left. Anyway, so excuse me. You guys have to bear with me. I've had a kind of a rough week. Just kind of been under the weather. I've been barely surviving doing my podcasts. Luckily, as I said earlier, that the guests do most of the talking, so I can kind of hang back and get through them. Anyways, Mary Hall, where is she? We can hear you, Mary, but it says your camera is not turned on. So I'm asking you to start video. Oh, did she leave? I think she left. Anyways, the Blue Avians with Mrs. Nova. I was looking into, we want to see about that, about the Blue Avians are here testing the waters. So we have 220 people here. So 1% would say that at least 2 of you should be here as guests. And I may need to get something to drink so I stop coughing. Let me see. Can you give me like water or Topo Chico or something? Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you, Cher. All right. So I was trying to, I always like to give you a little bit of information in between guests. And I was going through the day's news about UFOs, and the one of the day's new UFO was the one that she's eating the blue-skinned pink people. Thanks. So, before I get to this something else, let's kind of check on the calendar and see who is coming up. Oh, okay. I have a really good NDE that we're almost done editing it. I recorded yesterday with a man that he had a heart problem and died for about 10 minutes, and he encountered Jesus. That should be posted tomorrow. Tomorrow I don't usually post the same day that I actually record them. There's usually at least one day. Tomorrow I'm going to be recording a UFO one. And then on Monday, I have a woman that is a fairy expert that I'm supposed to record on Monday. So I think that should be interesting. And someone else has asked me to get her. And so I'm glad that it all worked out. Jeff, I wanted to talk to you about this. This is about UFOs. You can talk to me about whatever you want. We're not only NDEs here. So come on in, Laura. Let me see if anybody else is known here. There is a super, super famous television psychic that I'm trying to get on, and I think it's going to work out. I think it's all going to happen. So I think I'm looking forward to that one. And I don't want to give out the name yet because, that if he doesn't show, it might not, I don't want to jinx it. Okay, Laura is almost here. Hello, Laura. We just need your sound. Let's see. You'll probably just take a minute for your sound to turn on.
Sorry about that.
Ah, there you are.
I know this is about UFOs, right?
It's about whatever you want it to be.
Ah, okay.
Just something supernatural, paranormal.
Well, I had an NDE.
Oh, cool. Let's talk about it.
But yeah, I haven't really written too much about it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Except for like different comments on Facebook groups.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really incredible. And I haven't wanted to talk about it because it's not really believable. And I felt like almost that I have to really start doing some like incredible things before I tell it, because like the story is just not believable. And it lasted probably like about 3 days. I wasn't, on the other side for 3 days, but I experienced like the fifth dimension when I got back. And now like I've been able to manifest things, which is really cool.
It's awesome.
But it's all about, like, I think the timing was really just all about like me being a rock thrown into a pond, and like the people around me seeing what happens in my life, like that changes because the world is being pulled into like the fourth and fifth dimension. I mean, I don't know about the world, but I am.
Well, let's start here. How did you die?
Well, no one was around. So what happened to me was, I was between 2010 and 2020, I had 15 back surgeries, or actually 16, but, and I became an alcoholic, and I got addicted to pain medication. And, I mean, I got hurt in a triathlon. So I wasn't used to being that, challenged, like physically. But after a while I just gave up. And Anyway, at one point I realized the amount of like medication I was taking, like would kill a horse. Um, it was ridiculous, and it wasn't having any effect. Like, and I have a degree in biology and worked in protein chemistry for 10 years. So I know how things bind, and it was like, it wasn't binding in my brain. And within like 24 hours of having like this realization that God wasn't letting me die, I got pulled out of my body. And before it happened, like the story's not believable. Before it happened, I actually started like downloading information. I think now, like now that I have words to like describe what happened, I was just being like, I was getting information. So I mean, it was just like the fourth dimension coming in, but I had no idea what that was.
Let me ask you this. Did your experience happen while you were taking medication or drinking?
No, actually, the what happened was, when all of this started happening and literally a cloud came, I have pictures, and I got lightning bolts. That's a whole other story. I went around my house and threw everything away. And I thought to myself, like, I've never done like a 3-month rehab. So I have to try that. And anyway, the story isn't like, the story before I came back is pretty unbelievable. But since I've been back, I recovered from 25 years of chronic pain. I recovered from an autoimmune disease that I was supposed to take thyroid medication for the rest of my life. And I mean, I'm not even lactose intolerant anymore.
Wow,
So like all
awesome.
these things, but it all came from A Course in Miracles. Like understanding, I came back and it was like being forced on me to read it. And when I hit a year, when it was a year to the day of the NDE, it was June 26th. I opened up Facebook and there were my memories. And 5 years before that, I wrote a quote about starting A Course in Miracles. I wrote a quote from the book, and I posted it on Facebook June 26, 2015. And then my NDE was June 26, 2020. So that was kind of, cool to see. But again, like the story's not believable. It's just been, it's only been a year and a half. So I've gotten like quite an education just by watching your show.
So it sounds like to me, and I'm not the judge, and take my opinion with a grain of salt, it sounds like you had more of just an out-of-body experience, because at the time it happened, your body wasn't in distress at all.
Well, I left I mean, I got pulled out of my body. It was
Yeah.
violent and it was terrifying.
Oh, wow. Violent.
And
So,
then
well,
I got to
let's-
talk to God.
Let's go back there. Can you tell us more detail how you got pulled out and what was
Well,
going
it
on?
wasn't violent. I was in bed, but it was like, I didn't know what was happening to me. And
Mhm.
all of a sudden I had this thought like, oh my God, is this what happens when you die? And I knew that my Nana, who had died when I was 6, she was with me. I saw her. And I mean, I said to her, like, how much I missed her. And I had this whole experience on the other side. And the first thing that I heard was, your suffering is over. You've learned the lessons you needed to learn. Going forward, you will experience pain differently. And I was told, like, I was given a ton of information. Like, the biggest thing was the reason why Jesus died on the cross. And I'm not like, I was brought up Episcopalian, but I'm not I don't go to church anymore. And I don't like have strong feelings one way or another. But I kept asking, like, why me? Why would you pick me? And the answer was, this happens for everyone. It's just your time. And what that meant was, everyone gets the information I was getting when they're in their soul's last trip through the earth. And so I was in my soul's last lifetime. And so I was getting this information. And I was shown what my life was going to be like when I went back, and I was given the choice about whether or not, that came first, actually. I was given the choice about whether or not to come back, and I said no. I didn't want to. But I saw my parents on my court of life, and decided to come back because I couldn't bear to leave them, like, without telling them everything that I had learned. So after this, I knew nothing about NDEs. I didn't really even know the word. I wasn't into that. I was just done with life. Because like it had, like, I had mental illness as well that was healed on the other side. Anyway, it's not a story that can be wrapped up in like 5 minutes, but
That's okay. Let's keep going. There's no one in line,
well,
and when no one's in line, I keep going. So when you were on the other side, were you interacting with any beings like God or Jesus, and also don't forget to tell us the reason why Jesus died on the cross too.
that was what was hammered into me was why my life was going to be similar. And it's only in that I had borderline personality disorder, PTSD, and major depression before this all happened. Most of it was under control, but I took an antidepressant for 25 years. Anyway, so it is kind of like a socially reviled mental illness to have. It's not something that you want to go and like, I don't know, say on a podcast that a lot of people are watching. But anyway, I also had 16 back surgeries, which is kind of unusual. And I hated myself like throughout my life. Something happened when I was 7 and I decided that I was evil because of it, like childhood trauma. And,
Sure.
And basically like my physical body, I mean, our thoughts are so powerful. I didn't understand any of this. Our thoughts are so powerful that like it just destroyed me eventually. But anyway, the point is I had to go to the end of life to figure out like what we can do as people. This isn't going to sound like perfect because I wasn't planning on
That's okay.
on calling you, but like A Course in Miracles gave me like the start into understanding how powerful we are as human beings. And the timing has been just incredible with things that have happened to me and like the books that I've been guided to read. I started listening to Cryon, and at one point he was talking to like the old souls, and he gave out this, he recited this prayer, and for some reason I thought it was important, so I pressed pause and I wrote the prayer down, and he said to read his book, The Journey Home. And so I got that book and I read it, and it's about NDEs. And it gave me like the final piece. I didn't understand. I didn't see God. I could hear God. And it felt very comfortable talking to God, which was something that was like surprising to me. But in reading The Journey Home, I was able to get like a personal connection to what I am means. Because I think for everyone, like you can say it, you can read it, but until you feel it and you understand what it means, it doesn't mean anything. At least that's how it's been for me. Anyway, did I don't know if I even answered the question. I can go on
let's
for
go back
hours
to
now.
this. I don't know. Did you give us the real reason why Jesus died on the cross?
Well, actually, the most concise reason is because he chose to, because he could have come down. But at the time, like, people don't like to remember that we hated Jesus. We killed him. We crucified him. He was not liked. What he came and said, people didn't like to hear. So we killed him. He didn't come here to be worshiped. He came here to show us what we were capable of. So, like, I wasn't interested in any of this stuff. And now, like, I'm reading the Gospel of the Beloved Companion and, you know, the Book of Thomas. And I have this book next to me right now, the Kabbalion. Like, we have no idea how powerful we are as human beings. And it makes life every day. Like, I'm not going back to work. Why work when you can like play?
Can you manifest your own, your own income out of
I'm
thin air?
learning how, but I haven't figured out how to do it, like, so that all I have to know is that whatever happens, like, God always, like, all I need is to have a connection with God, and something always comes through.
I think that's great.
Well, I had to see it before I would believe it. I mean, that's what the Course says, that, like, you have to see it before you believe it.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
anyway,
that makes sense. All right, Laura. Well, I need to run to the next person. Someone finally showed up, but thank you for coming and sharing. And I hope you come back and we can talk about it more next week.
yeah, well, I probably won't, but I was here now, and like, I'm not usually watching things, but the timing was right, so here I am.
Well, if you change your mind, we're here for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Don't report. And Patricia, Belgium. So it looks like we got someone that's up late in Belgium tonight watching, that's about to join us. So how many of you guys have read A Course in Miracles, and what do you guys think about it? No, it's not wrong. For someone who's trying to get in earlier, you have, just to let you know, you have to put the Zoom ID and the password in exactly like it is. I mean, if with one letter's a capital, it's got to be a capital. If another letter's lowercase, it's got to be lowercase. So they've got to be exact. And that may be why you're having the problem of getting in. And Vargas, I think, is who it is. Otherwise, Anne, if you go to, excuse me, if you go to the community post of the channel, I posted the official Zoom link. Excuse me, forgive me, I'm just struggling today. If you go to the community post, I put the Zoom link in, the actual link, if you want to just use the actual link itself. Otherwise, again, you've got to do it exact. Zoom ID and password. I want to read the Course in Miracles, says Joe. Most of the people here follow it. Just kind of checking the chat. So almost 300 peeps in here. That means there should be 3 of you in line waiting to come and share with us. And you're not here yet. By the way, I think this is a joke. I don't even know if I should let him in. If you see the name there, I don't think that's the real person. Look at the name. No, see the square? The person who wants to join next to my face. That's the person's name. Yeah, what's the name? No, it says, it's not there for you yet. It's a delay. I don't think it's really Jeffrey Epstein that was here. I guess Jeffrey's gone. Maybe he was popping in from the other side to tell us what really happened with his life, but he's gone now. Last week there was another person with a crazy name that I had to ignore. Incorrect password. Please try again. I don't know why. I never change the password. I do this every single day. I give this link out to everybody every single day, and there's usually not a problem. And Zoom doesn't. I don't even think Zoom would change it unless I had to go in there and try to change my passcode, which I don't even know how to do. Maybe the Zoom ID you're typing in is wrong because the ID is not matching with the passcode. So, anyways, where were we? Oh yeah, so I was later telling you that Monday I'm going to be with a fairy expert, so that should be really cool. And I think I got quite a few NDEs scheduled, as well as someone said, you make sure that you don't have your caps lock on. That could throw it all off. And all right, here we go. They're here. I spoke to them earlier, and it's going to be Stephen and Evan. Stephen and Evan were guests of mine probably about a year ago, and they're from Australia. And I don't know if it's going to be Stephen or Evan or both. This looks like Evan. Is this you, Evan?
Yes, it is. Steve will be here in a second.
All right. I was trying to. Your camera looks so clear. It looks so beautiful. It looks perfect.
It's a HD one, so.
Oh, you got a new camera?
Yeah. So just because Steve's always shoving artifacts in front of the camera, and no one could ever see them, and I'm like, I've got to get a better camera. So,
well,
that's what led to that.
Let me tell everybody about you guys. I had Stephen and Evan on probably about a year ago, and I don't know if it's you or both you and your father are really tied in pretty close with the aboriginal culture and people in Australia. And the last time we were on, Stephen was showing us jewelry from Lemuria and Atlantis.
Yes.
And we had a great story about that. And that I don't know if the jewelry found Stephen or Stephen found the jewelry. It seemed like it kind of found its way to Stephen.
It has that way, and it's almost, well, they do have their own consciousness, and it's like they call out to each other. So once you've got one, it's like, I'll bring my friends in, please. And yeah, they're definitely a mixed bag. Some are kind of light, and some are very dark, and some are in the middle. So I guess just like us, really, with a full spectrum as well. But yeah, no, so they're definitely characters, that's for sure. Yes, so some have been found here in Australia, and some have been found around Angkor Wat as well.
Wow.
But the Lemurian ones, a few of them have come from Angkor Wat, but they're usually, you need a couple of fingers in the ring, so they're not meant for our little dainty fingers. Meant for someone with bigger fingers.
Yeah, some giants.
Yes.
So, the cool thing is, it's nice to see you guys and catch up again. Most people probably don't realize that I see almost every guest once and I never talk to them again. It's like I make a friend and then that's it. Our paths cross and then off they go and we don't see each other. And I haven't seen these guys in about a year, so it's nice to always catch up with people again and see how they're doing. And I've seen some of their friends. I had the girl, you guys probably do once a month some type of internet broadcast with a host of people, and one of them I was with was oh gosh, I can't remember her name, the girl that has UFO contact. And there's
sounds like it might be Leah.
Leah, yes. So
yeah,
here's
she's our host.
Yeah, she's the host. And so now we've got Evan's father, Stephen. And I was trying to introduce you guys to the audience that I'd seen you about a year ago. I know it was a little more than a year ago because there was a massive prayer about to happen in December, and you were trying to get everybody to pray for world healing. And can you follow up with the world healing prayer?
Yes, we
for
will.
us?
That's what we were going to talk about today, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually did. And I can tell you that we scored over 15 million people.
Wow.
And around we know that for a fact. We heard of mountaintops around here where there were 500 people on the top of the mountaintop and they couldn't fit any more in. It went particularly well. Uluru was closed down by the elders at 10 o'clock in the morning that day and shut that day and the whole next day. Everyone was ushered out. What actually happened? The proof we've put up on our website. We're going to leave up an article we wrote which gave proof that it was successful, because it's okay for us to say everyone went tribal and we all felt it. But we're all rational beings and we've all been to school and we've all been conditioned and we need proof. And I remember when we finished the ceremony, I thought to myself, how am I going to prove this? How can I show to people it's real? The stuff we've got is this. Number one, some people who weren't involved in the ceremony were filming Uluru, and at 7:36, in the camera only, no one saw it, a massive flash of light came out of Uluru and covered the whole sky in a huge white flash for about a second.
All right, 1 second. Let me stop you there. Let me stop you there, because there's a lot of people here who probably have no idea what Uluru is.
Oh, it's Ayers Rock. It's in the middle of Australia. It's a massive red rock, and it's the one that they've been doing ceremony for 9 years. I'm leading up to that ceremony the elders did, because the elders' job was to turn the rock on. Our job as humans around the world was to make it run. It's okay to put a car in idle, but you've got to put it in first gear before it goes. So our job as a collective around the world was to feed it. And I believe at 7:36, that's when the magic box was turned on. At 7:36, the Schumann resonance went from 0.3 to 30. It increased 100-fold for the next 4 hours. We also had film, most to our surprise, and we've got it up there, of a UFO circling above Uluru at exactly that time.
Wow.
It is not a plane, because we'll see in there, we got a map at 7:32 of all the planes in Northern Territory, and there was one 400 Ks away. So there's only one plane that was flying. We checked at Uluru. The last helicopter landed at 5 o'clock, so it wasn't a helicopter, and it was moving at about 30, 40 Ks an hour. No plane can do that. It'll fall out of the sky. And it disappeared up this massive, huge, deep blue patch in the sky. This is at sunset. And we've got a picture of there's a horizon where it's a washed out grayish blue. And in the sky itself, it's this massive blue. We've got pictures at Croatia of this beam of golden light just stays out of the sky from nowhere, no cloud above it, that goes straight into the water. And thousands of Croatians saw it. It went viral all over the sort of Balkan regions, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was covered in Serbia and a couple of other places on the news. They showed it there, but they didn't show it in Croatia.
Yeah. Now, since then, we've got some shafts of light at Budapest, Glasgow, and then this last December, we had a message to do a rock and sacred artifact circle and try to get people again to put positive intent back into the world.
But there's a trick with this one. We did that ceremony, and I think probably 1 million people joined in with it, but it was not really that important. Because here's the trick with this, the full story. And this is where it gets quite interesting. The first ceremony, you had the alignment of Jupiter and Saturn with the solstice. So we had 3 heavenly bodies involved in it. Second ceremony, we had the solstice.
Yeah.
But the third ceremony, which is going to be done at the end of this year at Uluru again, coming up in December, we have the solstice, a full lunar eclipse and an alignment with Uranus, which is the planet of change that's taking place. And we've been told by the rocks, by the skulls, by the rings and everything we have, that ceremony is the dividing line. See, what's happened is, I think we told you at the start, you would have known this, this was the beginning of division of two roads that the Mayans speak about, or what the Hopi call the fast-flowing river. That was the beginning process of that. We had no idea how long that was going to happen before it came to a close. But it's become very clear to us now, and we've seen a recent Hopi prophecy we just spoke about recently, about the two brothers. And they speak about the two brothers coming and showing themselves as blue in the plaza, they call it, and it's unveiled, which we think is the clouds. And we saw one in Georgia, in America, and one in Uluru. And we believe that was a sign of the two brothers.
Are you saying the two brothers are aliens?
No, well, the two brothers are sort of aliens, but the aliens are sort of with us at the same time. It's really hard to define the two. But what they say there is, where is it? It will come when the blue star Kachina dances in the plaza and removes his mask. That's how it's put. What happened was the skies opened up, both in Georgia, where the moon was shining and the moon went blue, and in Australia, where the cloud opened up, one cloud, and it was all multicolored with every color you could see. It was like a rainbow. And that cloud, when we started the ceremony, was a dark gray.
Here we go. They will come and visit to see who still remembers the original teaching, flying in their pato viotas, or flying shields.
Now, remember, we saw a flying shield above us while this was happening. That Hopi prophecy and what we saw was identical. So what we believe is that is the beginning. When that happened then, that was the beginning. We had a period of time. We believe that time finishes. This one coming up when there are three things within our solar system in alignment again. And remember that 3 is a very magic number. So we feel that what's taking place is we are now in the final stages. Now, I've got to make it clear to people, when we went to Uluru, when we did that ceremony, we didn't wear a mask. We walked in with everyone else. No one tested us. We went where we wanted. We ate where we wanted. Everything was, there wasn't really two roads I could see. But since that's happened, the whole world is divided. And I'm not making a comment about whether or not you do this to your arm. I'm not interested in that. What I'm looking at is, are people becoming angry and divisive, or are they living with the planet? And a lot of people are becoming hateful. That is not how you progress in the future. And they could be vaxxed or unvaxxed. It goes both ways here. What I think is happening is we're being tested. And the elders have told us that what's happening out there is what's happening to us inside. It's the same thing.
Yeah, many will appear have lost their souls in the final days. Those weak in spiritual awareness will go insane, for we are nothing without spirit. They will disappear, for they're just hollow vessels for anything to use.
So this is he's reading the Hopi prophecies as we go through that, because I believe the Hopi are the keeper of the prophecies. They are the great keepers of the prophecies of the change. And what they've made very clear is the red purifier would be coming. Now, to begin with, in the first prophecy in 2003, they said it was 7 years, but they added something to it and brought it down to 18 months. And in the last part, we've got all these different prophecies which Heaven's trying to read from.
All right.
Well, I'd hate to stop you guys here. I just wanted to get you on, promote what you're doing. First of all, can you tell everybody your website?
Right. So for the conferences.
Well, first of all, what is your website where people can see that picture of the UFO?
Oh, yeah. So you want to go to forgottenorigin.com.
Forgottenorigin.com if you want to see that.
Yes.
And do you see the picture of Uluru there as well?
Yes, you do. You'll see the picture of Uluru. You'll see the exploding light. You'll see the Schumann resonance increased at that time. You'll see all the things we mentioned and others we haven't mentioned. It's all there. It's open for everyone. Now, what we've been doing since, we've been doing online conferences to begin with. Our first 7, we're building that up. And what we've been doing since, and we said we would continue doing this until the change. Well, I can tell you now, the ones we do are leading up to this year. Our last online conference is going to be in December. because we know after that it doesn't matter anymore. And one of the interesting parts is the Hopi keeps saying the same thing, that people must go back to the old ways, the original teachings. And what we're doing in our next conference, we brought in 2 of the greatest storytellers in Australia. And they're actually being chosen to be storytellers. And they're going to be doing stories which we call the first yarn. And very important, because you're going to learn what this old way is. It's okay to say, let's go back to old way. But what does that actually mean? So what we've done is we've asked 2 really brilliant storytellers. They're going to come in. One's a female, one's a male. It's Uncle Matthew Priestley and Auntie Trudy Roberts. And they're going to tell stories about the first yarn. Because if you don't know the first yarn, you can't embrace the last one, which is the one we're talking about now, the change. So we're going to give people an opportunity to fully understand what is old way. And they're going to be telling you the first dreaming stories of the beginning. And once you understand the beginning of humanity, you've got a much better chance of participating in the change and transformation that's coming along.
So yeah, that's on our alienancestry.net.
So that's where the live broadcast is going to be, through our alienancestry.net. So if you guys want to see Stephen and Evan there, as well as some other speakers there, we've had Leah on the podcast. We talked to her about her UFO connection and her alien connection. So that's another guest that will probably...
She'll be doing that too. And we'll keep our conversations with Mesrith. We've done about 8 of those, haven't we, Evan? Yeah. And we continue. We've had an ongoing dialogue with him, and he was fully aware of that ceremony that was taking place and he told us that ceremony that took place was the reason why all the aliens came here. That was the long-term plan here. There was always a point in a line in the sand, and you read all the scriptures, I'll always talk about a change. It's in everywhere. That was the part that they came for. And they were hoping and praying that this would be successful. And I can tell people now, I thank everyone from your group, and we thank you for putting that up. We thank you because we knew what number we needed, and we exceeded it by a factor of 10. A complete success. Yes, everything's been... Mesrith said this, that what we have now is a gift, the greatest gift humanity's ever been given. But if you want a gift of that dimensions, you have to earn it. And that is what we're going through now. The chaos we're going through, a lot of people are going to fall by the wayside and say, oh, just do what I'm told. I don't care. I hate that mob and I hate them and I hate that. Once you use that word, once you start hating people, you're not in the Hopi River. You're not walking on the road the man's speaking about. You're creating a place that will actually make sure you leave this planet. Yeah. Our understanding is what happens on this planet on that day reverberates throughout the cosmos. This is why they've come here. What we're doing is going to reverberate through everywhere. And that is why they've come and spoken. They call this the great event. And now the trick is the event will take place and all of the animals are welcome, bar one. One species on this planet has not deserved the right to go. We have to probably all guess who that is. Oh, I think we know. Yeah. Somebody has soiled this place up badly. Yeah. There are rules to live by nature. All the animals live by the rules of nature, our mother. Right. One animal doesn't. And that animal now has to say, will I commit myself to nature? Will I now start honoring nature? And I said earlier on, we just did another talk. I said, look, if you go to church, keep going. If it makes you feel a better person, do that. But remember, you must also now honor the planet. Yeah. You must go down to the river, down to the creek, down to the ocean, and give thanks to the mother and say it aloud, think it, and spend some time because you need the lock in. The mother is increasing. The human resonance is growing all the time, so much now that often it can't be measured anymore. Our mother is getting ready for a planet that's going to be full of magic and love. And if you can't understand magic and love and you start hating people, you don't belong here anymore. And she will ask you, not ask you, she will make you leave.
Yeah.
And you will not be allowed to incarnate back here because it will be so advanced. If you did, as soon as you were born, you would die.
Wow.
It's not a punishment. It's saving your life, because this planet is not going to be reverberating at what it was at 32 or 0.3, depending on what the measurement is. It will be reverberating in the hundreds all the time.
Right.
And unless your soul is prepared to take that in and live at that higher level, you have to leave the planet. You can't live here anymore.
Right. Sounds
So
like
that's
we're
what
in,
this is about.
sounds like we're entering another into the ascension. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm gonna have to run, but thanks for coming in today. It was great seeing you guys. And again, if you want to check them out, the broadcast, it's ouralienancestry.com.
.net.
.net. All right.
Yep.
Great
Thank
seeing you
you.
guys.
Thank you so much,
All right,
mate.
you guys take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right. I had someone, and maybe he lost. It was Daniel. But that was Stephen and Evan, and we had them back. I think it was November of 2020 when I had them, because it was just before the big prayer thing that was going on in Australia. And he was talking about Uluru, which I believe if you've seen pictures of Australia, you've probably seen a picture of it before. It's like a giant red, I don't know if it's considered a red giant rock or a giant red mountain, but I think that's a very spiritual place, and you were supposed to pray in that direction. And it sounds like that there was a UFO flying over at that time, and they kind of were trying to set up a worldwide time of everybody in the whole planet to pray at a certain time. So it was nice to catch up with them. All right, so it's 8:30. I have 32. I have 28 minutes left, so I want to do my last call if you're going to get in here. I've seen people come and go, and there was a woman earlier was trying to get in. I think her name was Anna.
I picked her up because he was making a mess in the chat.
Oh, no, I mean, no.
He was making trouble.
Oh, okay.
People were all complaining.
All right, well, my wife handled that. Anyways, let's see, almost 300 of you here. So that means there should be 1%, which would be 3 of you in line to get here and join me. Thank you, Monica. Again, I'm sorry for my coughing and my voice. I've just kind of been out of it for a week. If you guys have any questions for me, I'll do my best to answer them while we're waiting on the next guest. On that note, and I wanted to say, I don't know if she's here or not, and I wanted to say, I made a post today. One of our, I don't know if I should just call you guys my family, because you're always here. There's a lot of you that are here with me all the time. One of mine, it's not warm enough to say one of my viewers. It's almost like you guys are all my family. Anyways, one of you, Penny, if you know Penny Sutton, you might see her name there. She started a very nice greeting cards, and she sent it to me, and I posted it in the I posted it in the Discord and on the Facebook page. So if you need a Valentine greeting card for your loved one, maybe you want to give hers a look at. And I think she has them for pets too, or something too, cats. All right, so I was getting chat coming in from Stephen here, and I think Stephen was just giving just their website again, which Stephen and Evans was forgottenorigin.com. All right, Luke Noski. He's been here before. I recognize him. Let's see what he's up to. Post today. One of our, I don't know if I should just call you guys my family, because you're always here. There's a lot of you that are here with me all the time. If you can hear me, Luke, go ahead and turn off the volume on the YouTube so I don't echo.
Are you there?
I'm here. How are you?
Good. good. I have a quick story.
All right. How are you? How have you been?
Good, real good. So,
Yeah. You're in Round Rock, right?
Georgetown, pretty close.
Georgetown, right? Yeah. You know, I've had like 2 other guests from Austin,
Yeah.
or 3. So what's
There's
going
gonna
on?
be a-
What's in the water up there?
So this story that I'm about to tell you is real quick, and it fascinates me because it was just a powerful story. And so there's this girl, a lady named Melinda. She's older. She's probably like, 50, 60. And she trusts me because if you remember on your last podcast, I told about a miracle where I went into my dad's back porch, and my right hip vibrated, and I
Okay.
got this word of knowledge that there was something wrong with her. And I was like, hey, dude, your hip's messed up. I
Mhm.
feel it. And so a miracle happened. She got healed. Well, she she trusts me more than anybody in the whole world because, because she saw miracles, go through me. So one day she was like, Luke, and her name's Melinda. She goes, I've never told anybody this story. I've never ever told nobody. I'll never tell anybody. And this is close to my heart, but I'm gonna tell you. And she actually told me this story twice. This is a fascinating story. This is fascinating. It's real quick, but she was 5 years old, and she just at her house playing in the front yard, just at her house, and she gets sucked up out of her body, and she goes into another, like, she goes back in time 5 years ago, 5 years before. She was 5 years old. She goes back in time about 5, 6 years, and she could tell by the style of the bike. She's a blonde head girl. She's a blonde head lady. She sees this blonde head girl going across the street with her pull up striped socks. And she sees that little kid get hit by a car and dead. Then she gets sucked into a bedroom with this crying mother, and the mom's just bawling her eyes out, and she's now this, she went from that place to this room. And as soon as the mother had contact with her eyes, even though she is a spirit, I was the mother kind of calmed down, and she got sucked back out of that realm back into her body, and she was playing again. And so she feels like she's not spiritual. She don't feel like that, but she goes, Luke, I know that was me that got hit by that car. And I know I was sent into that realm to comfort my mother that died. And I could tell that girl was me. And she goes, never tell anybody. She told me, no, tell nobody.
Wow.
And she goes, so close, but she will never watch this show, right? But she goes, it was so, she was so hidden, she wouldn't let anybody know. And so it's just a really cool story. And I think when she told me the story, I just was like mind blowing. I was like, that's one of the coolest things I've ever heard in my life. And she could see the stripes on the girl's socks of what the date was, 1950s, and the bike style. And I said, did you see the girl get hit by the car? She goes, no, but she got killed. It was just supernaturally. She saw the girl on the bike, and she goes, she just knows. She didn't get to see the car hit it because, the spirit realm wouldn't let her see that. She goes, no, but she died. And that's,
Wow.
she knew, she was a knowing. And then that's when she was sucked into a bedroom, and she watched this mother bawling on tears on her bed, crying and suffering from the dead child. And then she came back to her body.
Now, for those of you guys who don't know Luke, we had him on, gosh, maybe 9 months ago or so, 6 to 9 months ago. He talked.
Time goes by.
It's nice. It's so funny that I was just saying with the last guests, the two father and son, that I
think I was before them.
I don't see. This is the first time I've seen Luke as well, so it's like catching up with an old friend.
Yeah.
I don't remember Luke's podcast number, but I remember, and I feel like it's pretty good that I can remember. I remember you getting out of your body during your podcast. We talked about it, and you were trying to wake up your wife or something. Wasn't she asleep on the couch?
I'm honored you remember that. Yeah, I got sucked out of my body, and then I went into through the wall into another room before heaven opened up, and she came sweeping out of her body, and I saw her spirit body, and it was so amazing. It changed my life, and that's how I started seeing miracles and stuff like that. But because that lady Melinda could trust me, because of my spiritual encounters. It was just an honor that she showed me that, she let me see that. So,
have you had any new spiritual experiences since we last spoke? I've got it. If you want to tell us about it.
Real quick. Mm-hmm. This is real quick because you probably have other people on, but okay. So I was on my room. I go on my roof. I have a flat roof, so I go up the ladder and I meditate at night, and whatever, I meditate and look at the stars and just relax, and try to go into another realm. And I was just sitting there on my lawn chair and just chilling, looking straight up. And there's two houses, in front of me, because it's on the back, I'm above the back porch. I'm looking at two houses. There's two houses, and in between two houses, this porthole opened up. I swear, dude, it was almost like lightning sideways, but it had more colors. And it opened up and went over my head and then got sucked right back into that hole. And check this out. This is how real this was. I jump out of my chair and I stand up. I'm like, what the hell just happened? What? And then I'm sitting there for 5 minutes because you can't think of nothing else. This is all you can think of. And I know my daughter was on the porch underneath me. And so I called her up and I said, Madison, about a couple of minutes ago, I'm just losing my mind. So I just have to tell you this because I saw this. And she goes, did you see that light? It lit up the whole entire porch. I've never seen nothing brighter ever. I mean, she goes, Dad, I thought I was losing my mind. And I watched this come over my head just like lightning and get sucked back into this hole. And I said, that's the first time I've ever seen a real porthole. I don't know what it is. All I know is I was like, thank you, Madison, for telling me this, because I would have thought I was going nuts, because I was sitting here doing circles on the roof. I was like, oh my God, I'm going crazy. Something's going on. And I had to, I called her. I was up on the roof and she's sitting there just chilling on her cell phone. And she goes, you saw that light. But she tripped out. She goes, Dad, I've never seen anything like that's the brightest light I've ever seen. Ever. There's nothing I've seen lighter. And it was just amazing. So that encounter did happen after the encounter. So
that's cool. But you didn't see any beings coming in or out of the portal.
Nothing. It's like lightning. It comes and goes so fast. The difference is, I don't know how lightning works, but lightning goes up and down. This thing came over my head and back to where it came from. So it spread out. It spread out like this and went real skinny back into where it came from. And it was probably like maybe 50 feet above the two houses, but right in the middle of two houses, but 50 feet or whatever. And I don't know, when you see stuff like that, you just think, man, you're going, what the heck? I'm going crazy, dude. That's my first thought. But I know I saw it because it struck me so bad that I jumped up out of my chair and I was doing circles, and your mind's doing this, your mind's just going, what the heck? What the heck? Oh my gosh. You can't just be normal after that,
Did you have trouble sleeping that night?
No, I did not. But I did think about it. I don't know if I was on your podcast and I said I had one of the times, all the miracles and all the things I've seen, I did have an encounter where an audible voice, I might have said it on your podcast, but I was in a store and an audible voice spoke to me on the outside but in. And when I had that encounter, I couldn't sleep for 3 days. And by the 4th day of no sleep, I was just dead dragging. I was dead. I was dragging. And so that was one of those times where I couldn't sleep. But I just wanted to, spruce things up and get a little miracle in here so you guys can have your little supernatural encounter.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm happy to see you again. And like I said, it's like seeing an old friend again. And, it's great for you to come by and share with us. I hope you come by again. And don't wait a year this time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I have a ton of stories, but you know what? I was thinking of getting on, hitting the supermarket and seeing miracles, and then coming back on your show, the next week, and give you a couple testimonies, and I might do that.
Cool.
So yeah,
All right, bud.
just to make it fun for you.
Yeah, it
But
is.
thanks a lot, man.
All right, it was great catching up with you again, and you take care, and don't be a stranger.
I won't.
All right,
Bye.
cheers. All right, that was Luke. We saw Luke a while ago, and I want to catch real quick. Karen, thank you so much for the super thanks donation. I really appreciate that. Thank you again. Yeah, that was Luke. I wish I could, I didn't always number them like I do now. And I don't know if he's from when I numbered them or not. And I don't remember the title, but you could probably, if you want to find that podcast, do JeffMara podcast, search Luke, and maybe you'll see him there. And if you want to check that one out. All right, so how much time we got? It is 8:46. We've got time for a couple more of you guys if you want to jump in here. But get him on again, Karen says. She liked seeing Luke. Maybe he'll be back next Saturday. Let's see. Do I have any questions? If you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask while we're waiting on somebody else. Sorry. Let's see. I'll try that. Thank you. Okay. My wife will bring me some manuka honey. I talked about that last week. It's just been kind of an up and down ride with this. It's 2:51. Okay, awesome. L. Johnson, thank you for that. It's too much. It's my manuka honey. That was 2:51. Oh, that actually made my voice just kind of cleared up just some of the mucus right out of my voice quickly. 2:51 with Luke. And I talked about that last time. This is kind of like, to me, miracle food, manuka honey. I think it's called manuka because the honey comes from New Zealand and the bees take the pollen from the manuka bush. And you need a certain concentration of the manuka in it. And so you want to make sure you have the rating UMF. That's the important one. And it's got to be at least a 15 UMF for it to be effective. And this one here is a 20 UMF. And we keep it around. We always keep some around because whenever somebody's sick, I mean, it's really helpful. I mean, because my voice is a little bit better already. But recently I had taken a bunch of vitamins, and I guess my stomach was empty. I had taken vitamin C, vitamin D, and some zinc, and it just didn't go well with me. And I was getting a stomach ache, and I was even considering taking Pepto-Bismol. That dates me. I don't know if any of you guys used to take Pepto-Bismol. I'm pretty sure it's still around. And I just, for some reason, thought about this and took it, and very quickly my stomach pain was gone. And by the way, I don't get any money out of this. I'm not promoting them. At this brand I buy on Amazon's called Kiva. I'm just telling you what I do. This costs about $65, so it's not cheap. Did you see my video doing Ferris Bueller? I don't know if I did, so please post it for us. You are letting other people share without imposing on your own beliefs. That's true. Was wondering what your personal convictions are of the afterlife. I'm a man of, I believe it's all possible. I haven't had an NDE, so I can't speak with certainty. You know, if you had an NDE, you can speak with certainty. But I've talked to enough people that I believe it's true. I fear death less just from hearing so many stories. And I don't know. I hope that answered your question, Clark. L. Johnson, thank you so much for the super thanks donation. I really appreciate you. Xylitol is good for sore throat. I'm not really have a sore throat. Excuse me. It's just mucus. I think what I have is what you'd call post-nasal drip. I've been having what in my opinion is just a lot of sinus problems. And as your sinuses start to drain in the back of your throat, it kind of drips down towards your lungs, and then you start coughing. I think that's what's going on for me. I had earlier during the week, I think I had crazy sinus pressure, because if the sinus pressure was so bad it was making my teeth hurt. If you've had that, then you know what that's like. Let's see, any other questions here? Do you think spiritual guides will help us with cures, illnesses, or diseases? I think it's possible. Again, I have never, if you know, they say we all have spiritual guides. I've never actually, you know, from what I know, had them contact me, or maybe they have been trying to and I just haven't paid attention. You were here earlier, I was telling you, we were talking with Joe about finding money, and I find coins a lot, and one time on my birthday I found a 20. So maybe that was my own guide trying to contact me. My Manuka medical grade, something zinc makes me nauseous. It's good to stay in a state of wonder. Can someone can someone in a coma visit their persons in their dreams? Good question. That's true. It is the flu season. And vapor rub. I'm glad you mentioned that too. I'm going to take that tonight. I bought some of that recently. Good thing you guys are in the chat with me. Reminded me of the vapor rub and the honey. Allergies could be. We have like an allergy season here in Texas, and sometimes it just catches up with us. Try fasting. I'm into intermittent fasting. Here's a cool thing I can tell you guys about. This will be an interesting thing to share. A long time ago, gosh, this is about 6 years ago, I had terrible acid reflux. And I was told at one time that it was due to having too much yeast in my body. So I basically went on a keto diet after that to try to fix it. And I had basically all I was eating was meat and veggies and fruits. That's it. No form of desserts or sugar or breads, grains, anything like that. That's all I was eating. I mean, the only sugar I'd get would be from fruits. And when I did that, I dropped a ton of weight fast. The crazy thing, I was always dreaming about sweets. Sugar is so addicting, and the thing I dreamed about the most was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But anyways, back to that. So that's one way I know that people can drop a lot of weight, because I dropped a ton of weight. I mean, I must have dropped like 30 pounds, and you can imagine me, 30 pounds, 20 to 30 pounds in like 6 weeks. It was crazy. And my wife could even, if she was here, she could tell you that my wedding ring used to fall off, and I used to lose my wedding ring because I'd lost weight even in my hands, and it would just fall off. And I had a second ring that I'd wear on top of it so I wouldn't lose my wedding ring. That's how crazy it was. Anyways, I had maybe spoken about this before. I was concerned about it enough where I decided to go to a doctor, and they did an endoscopy where they run a camera down your throat and look around, and luckily everything was okay. The doctor just said, you have too much stress in your life or something. And I tried the medical route, and it didn't really help that much. So what finally helped me was watching YouTube videos. There was one that I used to watch all the time. I would just go to bed on leave it on my TV and turn off and just let it play while I go to sleep. It was called Brain Healing Music. And it looks, I think the thumbnail's like blue and it looks like a brain, and it's probably has millions of views, millions and millions of views. And it basically sounds like you're just listening to wind chimes, but I think there's a very low level binaural beat, but I'm not sure. But I don't even think I picked that part up, because if it was just coming from my TV in front of my bed, I couldn't really hear the binaural beats. Maybe I used to listen to it on my phone some too. It's hard to really say. It was, like I said, 5, 6, 7 years ago. But anyways, that really helped me. And so I think, and I had run into that doctor who scoped me about 5 years later after him. And he, I never followed up with him because finally I was okay. But I told him the story, and he said, yeah, I think he was saying that, I don't know if it was the majority, but a lot of acid reflux is caused by stress. So it makes a lot of sense. I think you can also have like a bacterial H. pylori infection in your stomach, which can cause problems. And so it could either be that or stress. And maybe even to him, most likely it's caused by stress. So I hope that helps somebody out there, that if they ever have a problem, hopefully that will help you. If I've been, all right, we've got Sarah here. Someone's joining us. Yeah, I was trying to see that. Was curious to know if you've ever been worried by a guest because they interrupted you. Scarf on. I would say I'm a generally very patient person. I love this. Here's something I'll tell you. I happened to be somewhere one time, and I heard someone tell this. I don't know if it was to my kids or to a bunch of other kids, but this man was speaking to these children, and I thought it was beautiful what he said. And he said, "With patience, you can have everything." And when I heard that, I thought that was just so amazing. So, that is my what I usually ask, my one last positive message of the day. With patience, you can have everything. Sarah, welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
Great. Where are you zooming from tonight?
I'm in Washington State.
All right. What do you looks like you got a bunch of stuff behind you, or is that
I'm in my husband's office actually, and he sells on eBay and stuff, so
oh, cool.
I'm sure that's his mountain of things to mail.
Wow. Is that a picture of an alien on the wall?
Actually, that is a skull. It's a Van Gogh museum, and it is a skull with a burning cigarette.
Oh, so your husband buys stuff like at thrift shops and yard sales and sell.
Estate sales and auctions when we can, and that kind of stuff.
Nice. Do you make a lot of money from that, selling it on eBay?
We do okay.
That's awesome.
We do okay.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, one of our thank you. One of our children is pretty disabled, and my husband is his caregiver when I go to work, and so he does that kind of on the side because obviously.
Well, it's always nice to have a side hustle.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, he's always been I like to say he's a very resourceful man.
That's
so
great.
Jeff, I've been trying to work up the courage to call you every week.
Oh, well, I'm
And
glad you made it.
I somehow talk myself out of it. I think it's like a stage fright situation.
Mhm.
Regardless,
Mhm.
when I saw all your coughing and then I heard you talking about it's just a tickle, I was just going to say, if you can find anything, you know, just Google what natural expectorants are. That's
Mhm.
things that help you loosen up and get phlegm out.
Thank you.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of different teas, herbally. There's a lot of ways to find expectorants. A drug way to get it is Mucinex,
Mhm.
but I like to think I'm an intuitive healer kind of person, and I've definitely started to journal because of wanting to come on and talk to you and organize all of it. But I've had a lot of OBEs and NDEs, and I will get there. And one day we'll have our day, but we've spoken about it a lot in the chat, you and I,
Oh,
and you've
wow.
actually enticed me to come on and speak with you many times. And so I'm Sarah K-A-Y in YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've been watching you the whole year long that you've
Well,
been on.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
well, you're here now. I mean, you
I'm a
realize
big fan.
you're here now. How does it feel? It's not scary, is it?
Well, it's not scary, but I definitely am. I have an elevated anxiety about me, and my heart's definitely going faster than is comfortable, but it's not unbearable. And I would say, in interest of anyone who's watching that's feeling nervous too, the longer you're here, the more normal it feels, you know.
Yeah,
so
I think,
yeah, you do adjust.
Exactly. And I think, and I don't want the audience to take this the wrong way, but
Absolutely.
you just, after a while, it feels like it's just you and me here.
It feels a lot more like that. Yes. As time goes on. Precisely. What pushed me over the line, and I actually had my best friend here last night, but what pushed me over the line is that 2 nights ago when I was going to bed, and I live right here out in front of the Pacific Ocean and in a harbor, an inlet. And so the backside of my house is situated, such a blessing, toward the ocean. I rent this home from a woman who adopted me in my childhood. And I like to say that this house and the land that it's situated on kind of saved what was left of my childhood. I came here at 11 years old after a really rough city life and experienced nature and ocean and all these cool things at my disposal, you know, and it definitely created me to be the person I am. But being able to bring my kids here the last 2 years and move in here now that I'm a mom has been absolutely magical. So always full of gratitude, and have been able to do a lot of self-healing and from a lot of childhood trauma and just different things, but also from my NDE. And so I saw my doctor this week, and I purposely had her look in my medical record to get the date of my NDE in preparation of talking to you about these things. So I'm working on it. I'm getting there.
Okay.
It's going to take some time, Jeff, but I died during an MRI procedure.
Wow.
And honestly, even talking about that, that gets me more elevated than, you know, just I'm still. And so actually she recommended that, and she gave me a referral to see a psychotherapist that's going to talk to me about doing infusions of ketamine. And I talked to her about, and thank you. I'm in conversation with, I think she's Dr. Linehan, the lady you brought on that does hypnosis and regression therapy. She's Canadian though, so it would be through Zoom, unfortunately. And that's why my doctor wants me to look at both avenues. And she's not discouraging hypnotherapy, but she maybe wanted me to find somebody in person if possible. She thinks that would be most effective, but I'm open to trying anything. Because the thing is I was gone for 35 minutes, but it's been such a short window of time that I can't remember anything. I don't know anything that happened. I can tell you exactly what it's like to die, and knowing that I was dying. And I can tell you, because of my medical knowledge, that if you don't have medical intervention and you're having anaphylaxis because you've been injected with something you're allergic to, you don't necessarily come back in your body after 35 minutes. So there's a lot of questions unanswered for me there. And my first OBE was when I was like 3. So there's been weird things happening, but right out there at the ocean 2 nights ago on the way to bed, constant synchronicities for me with the 1212 and the repeating numbers. It's happened probably 7 times today already. It's just every single day there's synchronistic numbers happening to me. And 2 nights ago when I went to bed, I looked down at my phone as I was heading to go upstairs, and I saw 1212 and I went, huh, funny, 1212. And then I saw it turn to 1213, and I looked up, and out the window I saw this what is the word that's like circular? It's the bottom of the circle. So it looked like a crescent moon, which I called God's thumbnail, right? It looked like a crescent moon out the window. And it was so bright that I was like, wow, that moon is crazy bright, right? And so there's more than one window heading to the direction I'm going. And so I go to a window that's more squared off, and it's actually a front door to the house that I'm living in now. It's squared off to the bay that I was talking about, the harbor. And what I thought was a crazy bright moon was getting closer and moving, and it was not a bright moon. It was unnaturally bright for a moon. The light of it and the color was the same as the sun. It was insane, the light. And then Jeff, it was in front of my window. It came really, really close. Like, I live on a hill that's situated against like a highway that runs along the coast out to the ocean. I live on the highway that takes you to ocean shores. So it's Highway 109. You guys can look that up. And I am about 4 miles outside of town. And I've been thinking for 2 days, there's no way other people didn't see it. It was as big as a small airplane. I know, because I live right across the water from a local airport. And we watched, you know, my son and I watched the planes take off and land all the time. And it was enormous and mostly semicircular shape. The whole thing was one bright light, which is what I don't understand. It was a shape that in and itself was a light. And here's the thing, holding my phone in my hand. And you would think, oh, I'd be so freaked out or scared. The feeling that I had, it was crazy. It was like, I know you hear other people talk about this, but it's true. The peace that I was filled with in the last moment when I died in my MRI, the same exact peace from the thing outside the window. And in such a way that the logic mind said, we could just unlock the phone, risk looking away to unlock the phone, right? Because I don't do the thumbprint thing. I don't know why. It just doesn't ever stay with mine. There's a lot of electronic mishaps with me, of course. So my phone is always messing up, and it never will do the thumbprint thing, even though it's enabled to do that. And I can reset it again and again, and it just never takes. And so, and it doesn't matter if I replace my phone, it does not work for me. A lot of things don't work for me. And I did not want to risk even looking away for a second. It was so incredible. But B, I didn't feel that it was, I know this is weird, but it didn't want me to take a picture of it. It didn't want me to film it. It was as if it was for me. And I had this feeling of, I'm so honored that this is happening for me. But here's the interesting thing, the CE5 stuff and, you know, all that stuff. I am a meditator, and I do believe in earthing and grounding. And I very much have a close connection with all the trees on my property. And I definitely, in meditation, more than once have sent out a message in my own mind saying, you know, I would be honored. I would totally be not threatened and happy to see anything, you know, please go ahead. But that's not the first time I've seen something weird. I've just never had it hundreds of feet away from my window, seemingly doing something just for me solely, which I know isn't true. And if I were a social media person and had the presence of mind, I'd get in, you know, some chat rooms and probably find local people. There's no way someone didn't see that, Jeff. And there's no way it could have been anything other than what it was. And the worst part is I finally broke my gaze on it. It was like I was hypnotized by it. And I don't know how long it lasted, maybe a few minutes at most. But the reason I broke was to grab my glasses. But it was so huge. I knew I didn't need my glasses. But the thing is, I wanted to draw it, and I knew I would want to do this. I knew I wasn't going to photograph it. I had this understanding with it. It was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. You know, I had the thought process of, oh, but we were definitely telepathically communicating, me and this thing or whatever was in it. And it almost had the feeling of family, or, you know, it was intimate. Yeah, it was cool. So that's what pushed me over the line. I was like, screw it. I'm calling Jeff. Forget it.
Well, I'm glad you did. Maybe, you know, maybe you, after you had your NDE, it, you know, made a crack in the veil for you. And now you have contact with beings on the other side.
Oh, I would say no doubt. But also it's kind of been like that for a long time. And Jason, my son that I was talking about, he's 13 now. But when he was about 2, we were at a place around sunset, and we definitely saw 2 UFOs together. And because of his autism and his developmental delay, his speech was very broken and delayed and didn't really start out as a back and forth ability till about 5 years old. So there's a lot before that time that he can't recall. It's very patchy. And from what I understand, the more long-term part of memory is associated with the ability to speculate, answer questions. The back and forth of this conversation is different type of speech than what a kid is learning when they're just disjointedly associating, meaning with words. So
Interesting.
anyway.
I didn't think about that.
You're interesting.
Well, thank you.
Don't forget about expectorants.
Thank
please.
you. I need
And I want to make a call out and say, Typo, thank you for all your encouragement in the chat. She's always trying to get me to do this. And
is Typo here today?
I don't know, but she'll
think-
see this eventually. And I
Yeah.
love you, Typo. I
Oh.
received your encouragement finally. It came through. You and your
that's good.
alien buddies or whatever, somebody got through.
That's great. As far as I know, Typo sent me a message in Discord that she won't be here for about 6 or 7 weeks because she's
Oh.
taking a class.
Well, I know her. She'll catch up.
But
She'll see
be
this
back.
eventually.
Yeah.
And sending love to her every day regardless. So everybody in the fam here.
Mhm.
So Jeff, I want to make a call. I want to leave this conversation, my positive message for today. I know
right.
this isn't our formal interview, but please, everyone watching, join me in meditation or prayer and picture Jeff and the perfect paragon of health. We want to help him
Awesome.
manifest
Thank
healing. And Mara, if you're feeling down too, just both of you,
Oh, thank
everyone
you
help
so
me
much.
manifest Jeff as a healed being that is feeling great and
Thank you.
energetically.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and don't forget, Jeff, that you have a bunch of non-physical, beings, and you have ancestors and guardian angels and guides. You have your higher self you can tap into. Just like Stephen says, there's Mother Mary.
There you go. Yeah.
And I love that guy so much. I wish I lived close enough to give him a hug.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
cool.
He's great.
I get so happy when he comes on.
Yeah, I see that a lot of people in the chat do. They get happy seeing him.
Yeah, I think I actually sent him my phone number in one of your live streams recently because I could
think-
just tell he's a friend. Yeah, I hope he uses it one day.
I think now we all expect to see him
Mm-hmm.
because he's
Oh, I
never,
really
I don't
look
think
forward
he's
to it.
ever missed. So we all
I
expect
always
him
run
to show
over.
up.
My husband doesn't watch the show, but I run over when Steven's on sometimes doing impersonations, or I'll back it up and be like, "Watch this, he's hilarious." I like to do impersonations too. We're just not there yet, Jeff. One day, maybe. One day.
Well,
Working
when
on
you're
it.
ready, we'll get you and Steven together.
I like
you
everyone
can be
else.
John Lennon and he can be Paul McCartney.
Oh, well, maybe I'll work on that. I'll have to watch a little bit of him, but I've had this thing I've done ever since I was a little kid where when I see anyone or hear anyone with an accent, I try to mimic it. I start practicing it in my mind, if not out loud. So, but yeah, that started with like the Crocodile Dundee movies when I was little.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that guy would like his Australian accent.
Yeah, he was great. I'm looking in the chat. The chat is delayed by probably 30 seconds. And I saw him just comment that Mother Mary comforts him. So I was just waiting to see.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
And
see,
you
now
too
he
can
just put in the comments, how does he get your number?
Oh, well, I will definitely, I don't know. What do I do, Jeff? I guess I
don't know.
download Discord.
Yeah, Discord's
answer?
free. You can maybe you
Okay.
can reach him there. I'm not really sure how else for you guys to connect. Yeah.
Don't know either. I don't know. But anyway, everyone pray for Jeff. Jeff, you
right.
pray for Jeff.
Thank you so much for that, Sarah.
You're welcome, my friend.
All
It was
right.
nice talking to everybody.
Nice meeting you and
guys have a
talking to you.
great night. You
Take care.
too. We'll
Cheers.
talk next weekend, maybe.
All right, great.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Mara. You guys are awesome.
Bye. Thank you. All right. Well, we went overtime. We haven't gone overtime in a while, so we went overtime tonight. Thank you guys so much for being with me tonight. I always appreciate you guys very much. And I hope to see you back next Saturday. And if you can, bring a friend so we can get the live stream bigger. I'd love to see it of about 1,000 people. That's kind of my goal. My next goal is, because we've gotten around 300. The best has been around 400, but I think it's good to make goals. So my goal that I'm putting out there is that we have 1,000 people hanging out during the live stream. All right, everybody. Thanks again. You guys